Hi, this is Jessica Cooper.
And I am Shauna Barnes.
Hi, and we are doing school shooting as our trauma explanations videos, summary video. So the hypothetical situation that we are working with is it was a K through 12 school, and there was a school shooting by another student, an 11th grade student. Six people died, a mix of students and teachers, and 20 excuse me, and 25 people were wounded. Um, and this happened 4 days ago. So Shauna is an 8-year-old child that was at the school who wasn't involved in the didn't actually see a lot of the shooting going on, but who had friends and teachers that were affected. And her parents brought her here today because she's been feeling a lot of anxiety. So that's sort of where we're at. All right. Hi, Shauna. How are you today?
I'm okay, I guess.
Yeah. It seems I heard you went through some really difficult things at the school the other day, and that you're feeling really scared and feeling a lot of feelings right now. Does
hmm
that sound about right? Okay. Do you think it would be helpful to you if I talk to you a little bit about some ways that people, like some things that people experience when they've gone through a situation like that, and some things that you might experience?
Okay.
Okay. So, when somebody goes through a really big trauma like a school shooting, or any sort of big violent situation, you could feel scared or sad, or angry, or a mix of all those. And you might feel one thing one second and then something completely different the next second. Um, and some people even feel sort of pains and aches in their body. It might start as something that you feel in your heart or in your head, and then and then it's sort of it's called manifesting. It manifests somewhere different. So you could feel it like in your belly or in your arms and legs, um, and that type of thing. Does that make sense?
Does it ever go away?
Absolutely. This is something that you're doing all the good work of talking about it now and thinking about it now and sort of processing through it right now. So yeah, you're working on it, and as you work on it longer and as more time passes, you might feel better slowly. But I think that yeah, that's something that you can definitely expect. Um, so another thing that can happen is that you might be doing something completely different, like riding your bike or eating dinner or whatever, and then all of a sudden you will start thinking about the shooting out of nowhere. Um, and those are called intrusive thoughts, sort of thoughts that you weren't expecting, or wasn't something that you wanted to think about, and it just sort of came out of nowhere. And sometimes they could be really jarring and really scary, especially if you're doing something totally different and you weren't thinking about it at all, and then all of a sudden your mind sort of flashes back or like shows you pictures of what happened, and you can sort of feel those feelings again, like feeling scared um or nervous.
But I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
Why does it happen? I don't want it to happen.
Yeah, of course you don't want that to happen. Um, but sometimes like our bodies and our minds um, are so shocked and so scared about what happened that that it's hard for us to sort of to get to sort of get rid of all of those things at once. And it takes time, and it takes sort of talking about it and thinking about it, and working with your feelings to be able to lessen that. Um, and another thing you might think about is some people totally feel totally fine during the day, and then some people maybe get nightmares or have a hard time sleeping. And these are things that might happen. This isn't saying that this is definitely going to happen, but I'm just giving you an idea of things that might happen, and that you can, if you see that happen, you can say, "Oh, this is why that's happening," and it won't be a big surprise to you. Um, And sometimes,
Do I have to take medicine for it?
no, you don't have to take medicine for it. Have to, you don't have to do anything different. It's just sort of, you know, it's based on how you feel and sort of what kind of help that you want or you feel like you need. Um, and sometimes, something I think that one thing that's really can sometimes make kids really, feel sad is when they go through something big and scary like that. Sometimes kids could start doing things they haven't done in a while, like wetting the bed or wanting to sleep with mom and dad again, which is totally normal. I mean, you've been through something really big and scary, and most adults would feel, just as scared and anxious and nervous and fearful, and there's nothing, you're not doing anything wrong. But those are just some things that could happen. And then, sometimes for kids who've been in situations like this, going back to school is really scary and they have a really hard time concentrating. And sometimes even their grades will go down because they've been having such a hard time sort of paying attention to the teacher and, concentrating when they are
I don't know if I could go back to school after that.
Yeah, that makes sense that you'd feel really scared. And, your family might make a different decision and go to a different school or, make some sort of change. I don't know. It's really up to you and your parents, but those are just some things that that might happen. Does it help you to feel like, some things that could happen? Okay, well, great. All right, well, our session is over now, but I'll see you next week when you come in, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay. How are you, Jessica? How are you?
Things have been hard, but I'm taking it one day at a time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a rough 4 days. So I definitely sympathize with you with that. What are some things that you feel like you've been feeling since that day?
I mean, just jumbled emotions. I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, I just feel like my head is all over the place. Do you know what that could be?
I have an idea, but I definitely just want to kind of get a little bit better understanding of how you feel before I share some information with you. A little confused and maybe perfectly normal, especially after a traumatic event like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want you to feel like anything is wrong with you or out of the norm. It's very common for a lot of people to experience some symptoms like that after something like that happened. Because I think it was your classroom that the shooter came in first, I believe. So you kind of were at the center front for that. And I know that was really, really scary. What are some other things that you were feeling during that time?
I didn't know if I was going to make it home, and I even about, not even worried about myself, the kids that were in the classroom and, just not, I mean, that's the first time I've ever been so close to a gun in my life. And just feeling, I just so scared. I don't even know how to process that.
Well, can I share a little bit of information with you about PTSD, which is a very common cluster of symptoms that a lot of people who have experienced traumatic events may also experience?
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Have you ever heard of PTSD before?
Isn't that what people that come back from war?
You're absolutely correct, and it's actually related to any traumatic event. So it can be war, it can be shootings, it can even be car accidents. So it can be any type of a abnormal event that causes a lot of physical and mental symptoms. So you're absolutely correct. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times with symptoms like this, they may not even occur right away. Sometimes they may not occur for maybe 1 month after the event. So again, you may be experiencing minimal symptoms now, and maybe a month or two from now, you may get a jolt of a rush of different emotions. So I definitely don't want you to feel alarmed. Again, that is perfectly normal for someone that's experienced what you experienced.
That's good to know. Okay, that's
So they're
something I can look
usually
out for.
yeah, so I kind of want you to take a deep breath and be a little relieved. Again, it's not something that's just singular to you. It does happen quite often, and there are different resources and support groups for people experiencing these symptoms as well. So again, I don't want you to feel like you're alone, and I definitely will give you some information to be able to reach out to some different types of supports for you. So I think that'll definitely help you get through as well. But I'll explain a little bit about the symptoms for you, just so you can get a better understanding and maybe be a little bit prepared. Again, there's nothing that can help you be 100%, ready to take on something like this. But I think if you're a little bit more educated, it'll help you ease into it a little bit. So there are 4 types of symptoms that you can experience. The first symptom is called intrusive memories, and that's really what that is flashbacks. So you may be somewhere, you may hear a loud pop, or maybe around a firecracker, and it may kind of take you back to that moment or take you back to that day. Again, it's also very common. A second symptom, it will be avoidance. So it may be you wanting to isolate, wanting to stay home, maybe wanting to avoid familiar places that may remind you. So maybe not wanting to come to work for a few days, maybe not wanting to be in large crowds, or even may feel a little bit apprehensive about even being around children. Maybe feeling that you maybe want to be a little bit more overprotective. And again, that's perfectly normal as well. A third symptom you can also experience is usually the development of negative thoughts. So you may feel that maybe you didn't do enough. Maybe you feel like there's more you could have done. You may even have difficulty with thinking, and maybe your concentration may be interrupted. Again, all these are perfectly normal, and they usually do pass. But again, they can be a little bit of a shocker if you're not aware of them when they come. And then a fourth symptom, and again, this is also very common and kind of goes hand in hand with the flashbacks, is some physical symptoms. So you may feel anxiety increase. You may feel like you may get easily angered. Maybe, again, difficulty with concentration, maybe periods of just intense sadness. So again, a lot of these things are common. A lot of people may experience headaches. They may experience tingling in their fingers and toes. Again, a lot of this is very common.
I'm really glad you told me that, because I would be worried that I was like losing my mind.
Oh no. And again, something like that, if you're never fully prepared. But again, that's why I wanted to suggest to you some resources and some supports for you to be able to kind of get through those different moments, because I think at least if you have someone to talk to that can relate to it a little bit better, then they'll have some coping skills or some techniques that they may have used that may also be beneficial for you to kind of get through that as well.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay, I feel much better about him. I was really, starting to wonder, am I going to start seeing purple elephants? Am I just going to go crazy? So it's really glad to know that. I'm really glad to know that there are, things that people do experience. There are commonalities that happen, and that I'm not alone, and that I can reach out to other folks that are going through really, just really challenging times too.
You're absolutely correct.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Welcome. And if there's anything else I can do for you, please don't hesitate. Please let me know. That's what I'm here for. Anything that you need, okay?
Thank you so much.
And you're so welcome.
All right, take care.
You too.